It began with a single bullet and ended by rewriting the story of humanity. Empires crumbled, millions perished, and the world we know today rose from the ashes of the one that died. This is not just a tale of kings, soldiers, and borders. It's a story about pride, fear, and the fragile thread that keeps peace alive. This is the story of World War I, the war that changed everything. The year was 1914. Europe was a web of powerful empires, tied together by fragile alliances and dangerous pride. For decades, the great nations, Britain, France, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Russia, had been arming themselves, racing for colonies, and preparing for a war none of them truly wanted. Then, one morning in June, fate struck in Sarajevo. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was visiting Bosnia with his wife Sophie. The city streets were lined with cheering crowds, but hidden among them was a young man named Gavrilo Princip, a member of a secret Serbian nationalist group. When the Archduke's car took a wrong turn, Princip saw his chance. 2 shots rang out. The royal couple slumped in their seats. That moment, those 2 bullets lit the fuse. Austria blamed Serbia and demanded revenge. Serbia refused to bow. Russia vowed to defend its Slavic brothers. Germany promised to stand by Austria. France and Britain, bound by treaties, soon followed. The machinery of war began to turn, unstoppable and merciless. Within weeks, armies were on the move. Trains carried millions toward the front lines. People cheered as soldiers marched, waving flags, believing it would all be over by Christmas. No one imagined the nightmare that was about to unfold. Thunderous cheers in 1914 vanish into the mud. The fields, once alive with promise, become forests of crosses. The world's innocence drowns in rain and blood. Europe's graveyard, 1916. The continent, a vast graveyard. Glory fades to whispers in the trenches, prayers lost among the shells. Millions vanish, fathers, brothers, sons, leaving only silence where laughter once echoed. A global inferno. This is not just Europe's war. Empires reach across oceans, pulling men from India, Africa, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. They fight in lands they've never seen, for kings they've never met. Survival, not honor, becomes the only dream. The Middle East ignites. The Ottoman Empire joins the Central Powers, and the sands burn. T.E. Lawrence, part scholar, part shadow, unites the Arab revolt, promising dignity to the dispossessed. He becomes legend, hero, and ghost in the desert's memory. Oceans and skies at war. Beneath the waves, German U-boats stalk civilian ships. The sinking of the Lusitania shocks the world. Innocence lost, outrage unleashed. The war leaps from trenches to oceans, from muddy fields to the clouds, as aircraft duel in the sky. 1917, breaking point. France clings to hope by a thread. Britain grieves in every home. In the East, revolution explodes. Lenin rises, the Russian Empire collapses, and Russia leaves the fight. Germany gambles everything on a final spring offensive, gaining ground at a cost measured in rivers of blood. The sleeping giant awakes. Across the Atlantic, the United States enters the war. Fresh troops and endless resources tip the balance. New machines, tanks, and aircraft turn battlefields into nightmares. The rules of killing change forever. 1918. Collapse and silence. The Central Powers crumble. Armistice. November 11th, 11 a.m. The guns fall silent. Across shattered landscapes, relief mingles with numbness. The world breathes, but nothing is the same. Aftermath and shadows. In Versailles, peace is written in bitterness. Old empires dissolve, but the seeds of a darker storm are sown. The scars of war run deep, pointing to a future shadowed by vengeance and loss. Enduring spirit. The Great War changed more than borders. It shattered minds, built legends, and left ghosts in every nation. In the end, peace is harder than war, but the human spirit endures, carrying the memory of when the world burned and survived. Peace didn't arrive with fireworks. It arrived like a breath held too long, finally released. On November 11th, 1918, the guns fell silent. After 4 years of thunder, the stillness felt unreal. Men in opposing trenches trembled, unsure it was truly over. Across Europe, bells rang and streets overflowed. Strangers hugged soldiers and wept. Beneath the cheering lay a quiet grief, because victory had cost more than anyone could count. Towns had vanished. Families waited for sons who would never return. Millions of letters went unanswered. Those who did come home were changed, carrying shadows they could not set down. Fields once golden were cratered and torn. Skies that once held birds now held the ghosts of gunfire. This was peace, but not the peace anyone imagined. In Paris, the victors did not sit as equals. Germany was blamed, humiliated, and burdened with debt. Many thought that would secure peace. In truth, it planted the seeds of the next war. The treaty did not heal, it wounded. Bitterness rose, and with it, voices promising revenge, restoration, glory. Across the continent, people began again. Women who had worked through the war fought to keep their independence. Communities rebuilt homes and roads, even as empty chairs at dinner tables said what could never be restored. Writers told the truths propaganda hid. Wilfred Owen on the pity of war, Remarque on fear instead of glory. The real cost was not flags and medals, but broken minds and fragile humanity. Revolutions toppled empires. America turned inward, determined to avoid Europe's storms. But isolation could not change what the world had become. Tanks, aircraft, machine guns had remade war. There was no going back. The old world died in the trenches. A fragile new one took its first steps. They called it the war to end all wars. It didn't. It only showed how easily we destroy what we love. And yet, from ruins came a fragile hope, cooperation, a League of Nations. It failed, but the idea endured, leading one day to the United Nations. The First World War was a battle for the soul of humanity. It stripped away illusion and showed us we are proud, we are violent, we are fragile. But even in destruction, there can be rebirth. From the mud of Flanders grew the poppy, red, small, stubborn, beauty rising from ruin. The soldiers' voices fade, but their stories still whisper. Remember what was lost. Do not make us die again. Before you go, take a breath for them. Your peace was paid for by millions. If this moved you, subscribe to Echoes of Time, where history isn't just told, it's felt and remembered. The past isn't gone, it's waiting for us to listen.